Good day, everybody. This is E. Marcel Patu. Welcome to another edition of the Original Free Kick as we preview Atlanta United's upcoming road contest against Toronto. As always, to follow everything that we do, go to the mothership, sportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Do a search for us under the Sports Inquirer, and you'll be able to find our content. And finally, you can also go to our audio and video host such as YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. Do a search under there for the Sports Inquirer. You'll be able to check us out and see all of our content. So, Atlanta United is back in action on October 16th when they will visit Toronto FC after the international break. Technically, it wasn't a break for all of the players on the team, and we'll break that down in a moment. But technically, the Atlanta did not play matches over a 2 week period. So this is how the team managed with that extra practice time. And here we hear from Gonzalo Pineda, manager on the team, on the international break.
Well, we had enough time to work in ourselves. We started the last week was working ourselves. Whoever needs a little bit more recovery, whoever needs a little bit of a push physically, so everybody's physically ready. Then we work in our style, in our finishing. We work a lot of in our finishing this last week. So we are hoping for the best in the next game. So we created enough chances and we had a good momentum. So it was dedicated to ourselves more than the opponent. Yesterday and today was more about the position and the game plan and all that, film, the scouting report, and normal week before a match. You had drills, having 2 weeks gives you the flexibility to maybe try different things. We did that last week, so we tried new different shapes, and we train a little bit the back four too that we've been using the second halves and how we overload the flanks with that back four. So it's another possibility, but obviously reinforcing the principles of the back three and how to attack, how to defend. So it was basically just working in the little things that we can improve, and hopefully the team is okay.
Yeah, you still have to remember the team is still implementing a lot of the techniques and practices and things that they want to do under Pineda because he did come into the season in the middle of the year and they've been playing matches. So this was their, I think, second extended period without matches under Pineda. They had an international break earlier in the season while Pineda was the manager. But as he mentioned, they were able to rest bodies, able to implement some more schematic techniques and get ready for this playoff push. And as I mentioned, it was an international break for a lot of players on the team, but not for several others. George Bello and Miles Robinson played for the USA national team as they make their push in CONCACAF for a bid in the World Cup. Miles Robinson played quite a bit in those matches, and Bella was on the roster as well, preparing for availability. Both those guys reported back to Atlanta. And by we're recording this on October 15th, which is Friday, they reported into camp, I believe, yesterday on October 14th, or at the latest today on October 15th. I don't know about their availability to play in this upcoming match. Remember the last international break, Bello and Robinson did not play initially in that first match back from the international break due to their commitment with the USA national team. I expect a similar situation here expected for their match on October 15th or 16th against Toronto. They might have the services also of Joseph Martinez or a better opportunity to see him play. He did not play with Venezuela in his recent round of international matches, but it wasn't because of unavailability from Venezuela. It's because he's still dealing with his injured knee and trying to rest that up for the playoff push. Here is Pineda on handling Joseph Martinez's availability with his knee rehab and managing that along with the set of matches coming up.
Yes, I kind of agree with that. I think without Joseph, the group loses a little bit of the reference of the false nine. Also, his leadership skills that makes people around just accountable for things, and that's always good. But the case is, as of today, we don't have Joseph in the in the team, so we need to adjust and try to look at different options. And that's what we trained last week. We trained with one false nine, with two false nines, with Coop also as a true number 9, and then two wingers, 110. So we work enough in different possibilities. I think there might be one that adjusts better for the opponent, which I won't share for sure. But there's one that is my favorite, specifically for Toronto, that I think we can cause them some problems. But at the same time, that takes away some things too. So it's always that balance of which one is the best option for the next opponent, and that suits better our skills. And that's a decision we have to make probably tomorrow to know exactly which formation and which players are going to perform.
And Atlanta currently sits eighth in the Eastern Conference standings with 39 points, and there's 6 matches remaining in the regular season. They're 1 point below the playoff line. Remember, the top 7 teams in each conference makes the playoffs, and Atlanta is in the eighth spot. They are 1 point out of that spot. Seventh place is currently occupied by Montreal, Montreal, and New York City FC, and DC United. There's a tie for fifth with 40 points. So the fifth, sixth, and seventh playoff spots are all with 40 points. Atlanta sits eighth place with 39 points. So very competitive playoff picture overall. But here is Pineda using his past experiences with the Seattle Sounders as an assistant, and they had strong runs in the past and won several MLS Cups while he was an assistant with the team. Here's what he's tried to carry over from Seattle into Atlanta.
Well, there are things that obviously you can apply. I think I have to coach what I see, and in certain ways the players are different. Seattle has a long history of making playoffs, and kind of the culture is right there. I think the culture of this club is the same, is trying to make playoffs every time. I think pretty much they accomplish that almost every year except for one. So I think the culture is here, is just trying to manage the momentum, 3 weeks, 6 games, and try to make them understand the importance of these 3 weeks and why we need to fight, why we need to compete, why we need to fight for each other. Mm-hmm. And it's just setting that mindset so we're successful, but nothing really special, to be honest. It's just trying to managing mentally the group, and that's it.
And let's hear from a player in Brooks Lennon, from a player's perspective, on the playoff push and what the team will have to do to secure a postseason spot.
Yeah, I think we're ready and prepared for the next 6 games, and looking to get into playoffs. Yeah, definitely. I think we've talked a lot about managing games. We go back to the result in Montreal, going up 1-0 in the second half, and then ending up losing that game. Just managing the game and managing different moments in those games, to come out with wins. And, Gonzalo has showed us that. He's harped on it. So we're looking forward to Saturday in Toronto and going there for only 3 points.
Now, I mentioned Montreal. That was the last team Atlanta played. They fell at Montreal 2-1 on October 2nd. They conceded 2 goals in the second half, Atlanta did, to lose that contest. Here's Brooks Lennon on the team having to finish matches and get positive results if they want to be a postseason squad.
I think after you go up in a game, especially away, you might need to change your tactics and just the way that you're playing the game. You might not want to go for it as much as we normally do as an attacking team. Maybe you sit in for 5, 10, 15 minutes and try to control the tempo of the game, possess the ball well. So it gives the team time to settle back into the game. So we've gone over video these last 2 weeks in the international break, and I think all the guys are aware of the situation, and the next 6 games are every game is a final.
And Atlanta faces Toronto on October 16th. They've played multiple times so far this year, but if you look at the overall overall record, a lifetime series of these two teams, Atlanta owns an all-time record of 2-4-3 against Toronto FC. They're 2-1-2 at home, and they have never won a contest in Toronto in 4 attempts. They're 0-3-1. That means they have 3 losses and 1 draw in Toronto. This will be the second meeting of 3 between the two teams during the regular season. Atlanta was able to get a 1-0 win against Toronto on August 18th at home at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The teams will play again at MBS on October 30th. Toronto's out of the playoff picture, which is a surprise for one of the perennially stronger teams in Major League Soccer. They currently sit in 13th place in the Eastern Conference standings with 25 points, but they are coming off of a positive result, a 3-1 victory at home against Chicago on October 3rd. Furthermore, Toronto was unbeaten in 4 matches and have won their last 3 contests at home. Very formidable opponent for Atlanta United despite Toronto's record so far this year. Here is Brooks Lennon on facing Toronto.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play. No matter what time of year it is, they've got a quality team. It doesn't matter where they are in the standings or the table. They've won the MLS Cup, multiple times. So we're not going there, and thinking that we're just going to run all over these guys. They're a quality side. So it's going to be a battle, and we're going to do everything we can to get the 3 points.
And we'll have a full recap of that match and analysis and probably some audio quotes and things like that with our recap, which should be out on October 16th at the latest October 17th. And thank you for listening to another edition of the original Free Kick. As always, go to thesportsinquirer.net, premier site for news and notes in the world of sports. You can also go to our social media platforms on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Do a search for Sports Inquirer on there, and you'll be able to find our content. And finally, go to our audio and video hosts, such as YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and iTunes. Do a search for the Sports Inquirer. You'll find our stuff, and you'll be pleasantly surprised by what you will see. Until next time, good fight, good night, and be safe.